It was raining, the kind of rain that soaked through to the soul, cold, relentless. Illy Carter hunched beneath the rusted awning of his one-bay garage, wiping grease from his hands with a rag that had seen better days. He just finished patching up an old Ford for a woman who paid in quarters and kindness. That was Illy 30. 4, quiet, broke, and known around town as the guy who never said no to someone in need. That's when he saw her. She stood at the bus stop across the street, her white wedding dress plastered to her legs by the storm. Mascara streaked down her cheeks like ink from a broken pen. She didn't look up when cars passed, didn't flinch when thunder cracked overhead. She just stood there, forgotten, frozen, and barefoot. Illy grabbed an old flannel and jogged through the rain. "You okay, miss?" Her head lifted slowly. She looked at him like he was the first person to see her in hours. "Maybe in years, my fiancé. He left me," she whispered at the altar, said he couldn't go through with it. Illy blinked. Damn. The rain started to let up, but she was still shivering. "Come inside," he said. "You'll catch pneumonia out here." Her name was Claire. She sat on the bench inside the garage, wrapped in Illy's flannel, sipping a mug of instant coffee. She looked out of place among the oil cans and brake pads, like a porcelain doll in a junkyard. But there was something about her, something cracked and real. "I feel like an idiot," she said after a while. "Why? 'Cause you loved someone who didn't see your worth." She looked up. "People do stupid things for love," he added, shrugging. "Doesn't make them idiots, just makes them human." Over the next few days, Claire stayed in the tiny room Illy had built above the garage. He didn't ask questions, just fixed engines, made grilled cheese, and left extra blankets at her door. They talked some nights about books, about dreams they gave up on, about how life sometimes takes a swing at you when you're already on your knees. Claire started smiling again. One morning, she came downstairs holding a toolkit. "I want to help," she said. "You've done enough for me." Illy laughed. "You ever turn a wrench?" "Nope, but I can learn." So she did. They rebuilt transmissions, changed oil, even painted over the rust on the old garage sign together. And with every bolt tightened and fender patched, she rebuilt parts of herself too. One afternoon, weeks later, Claire's ex pulled up in a sleek black BMW. He stepped out with a sheepish grin, sunglasses and roses. "Claire," he said, "I messed up. I panicked, but I miss you." Illy stood frozen beside the truck they were working on. Claire stared at the man who had once meant everything, the man who walked away. She looked back at Illy, covered in sweat and engine grime. The man who stayed. "I'm not the same woman who stood at that altar," she said softly. "I found someone who sees me, even when I'm broken, especially then." She handed the roses back. "Good luck, Daniel." That night, Illy found Claire sitting on the garage roof, legs dangling over the edge. "You really told him off," he said, handing her a root beer. She smiled. "Yeah, guess I finally figured out what I deserve." Illy looked at her, the woman who'd once been abandoned in the rain and now glowed like dawn. "I think," he said, "you've always deserved more than what he could give." She turned to him, eyes full of quiet fire. "So have you." A year later, the garage had a fresh coat of paint, a hand-carved sign that read Carter and Claire's Auto, and a coffee pot that never ran dry. They still didn't have much, but they had laughter, long talks under the stars, and love built one small act of kindness at a time, because Illy Carter had seen what her fiancé never could. Not just a bride, a fighter, a partner, a reason to believe that broken things can be made new again. Moral: sometimes the most meaningful rescue isn't dramatic, it's simple, human, and full of heart, and sometimes the people who have the least give the most. Because kindness isn't about what you have, it's about who you are.